In this video, we are going to be talking about Super Nintendo World, the Fast and Furious coaster, probably coming to Universal Hollywood. We're going to talk about that Super Mario trailer. We have a lot to discuss today on OG 55 with the Wizard. Welcome aboard to another episode of OG 55. We have a lot to discuss today. We're going to be talking about Disney, Universal. We're going to dip into even the movies with that Super Mario trailer. We have a lot to discuss with our good friend, Ethan from Theme Park Wizard. Ethan, welcome back. Welcome back, sir. There it is.
There it is. Our resident Universal expert. You gotta give him the Universal intro. Wizard, happy to have you.
Happy to have you, sir.
Welcome. Happy to be back after such a short time away.
Well, if you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
You can find me at Theme Park Wizard on YouTube, Theme_Wizard on Twitter, Theme_Park_Wizard on Instagram, and ThemeParkWizard.shop for some great merchandise. Merchandise as good as this one right here. TPW20 for a 20% discount at the very end. Put in the code and you'll reap a reward.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ethan. And down below, we got producer Dre, Vast Sky, host of the Freshly Squeezed show here on OG 55. Dre, welcome back, brother.
Hey, happy to be back talking about some Universal stuff today. I think that's really, really cool. And some of these things, they look pretty awesome. So I can't wait to get started. But before we do, you can go ahead and follow me on Twitter right down there at VashSky. Go ahead and type that right in. Should pop up, and we can have some what is it? Wastelands McCarthy says some
robust
discussion. OG, you got that job for me?
Oh, do I?
And there's the biggest bargain of all.
The biggest bargain of all. Not just Christine Wastelands McCarthy, but also following Vashka on Twitter. So there you go. And if you want to see me, well, for the biggest bargain on the internet, you can go ahead and follow this channel right here at Orange Grove 55 at Freshly Squeezed, your source for juicy news and info squeezed fresh right from the Grove. There you go.
Perfect. All right, let's dive in. Let's dive into a little Universal Studios Hollywood. We got the Universal guy here today. We got to talk Universal, right? We got to talk Universal.
Right.
Let's do it. Okay, so this is courtesy of Screamscape.com. Now, this is early concept art for a Fast and Furious drift coaster. So I'm going to go ahead, Ethan, I'll let you do the honors and kind of explain like what we're looking at here for the audience.
All right. So what you're looking at is, well, currently this area where the station is the special effects stage. And to the left is the animal actor stage. As you can notice, the escalator to the right, that's the starway to the lower lot. And some of those buildings that are Springfield now, but they look kind of generic there, but they're Springfield now. The beer garden, you can notice little beer statues right there. And then we got this coaster potentially going there with the main station building plopped right on top of where the special effects was. You can see the coaster is a spinning Cosmic Rewind style controlled spinning coaster with a C-shaped spike. This will be developed by Intamin, which is a coaster manufacturer, or ride manufacturer, for all the people that don't know that. And then you can see it's going to zip, it's going to launch. It'll be like, most Intamin newer coasters where you kind of pop up over here. You see the dual track station. You come out of the dual track station. You go out and you'll have a small launch. You'll go up that first hill, then you go backwards launch again up the spike. Then you'll
Mm-hmm.
do the full launch, and then you'll go over what looks like a corkscrew, and over the escalator, down the hill, do some fun stuff, then launch back up, go over the corkscrew again, come back around, and then come back to the station. That little building right there is the maintenance base, so it's not like a show scene, but you'll go around there, and then you'll come back over the hill, and then you'll be like fast and furious and party and like, oh my god, I had a great time. And your on-ride photo will be available for purchase right down below, I'm sure.
Perfect. Well, Dre, what are your thoughts on this? First impressions of the concept art, this idea of kind of utilizing the hill for part of the coaster, all that good stuff. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a great use of the space, and it's a great use of what was previously a deficiency with this kind of two-step approach theme park. Upper lot on the top of the hill and a lower lot on the bottom of the hill, using that to your advantage. And making it a benefit for this coaster. It sort of looks like almost like a terrain coaster, how it kind of hugs the side and will go up and down these hills. I think it's fantastic. Also, too, it features, I mean, we've been hearing a lot about Intamin coasters over there at Universal Studios Orlando, right? With the Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure and also Velocicoaster. So to get an Intamin real-for-real coaster here is fantastic, featuring this new drift concept. I think it's just phenomenal. And it features like this kind of Pantheon-esque, a little bit up, a little bit back, going through that curved spike right there, which creates a great weenie for anybody, not just in the park, but outside the park to attract them in. I think this is a really golden concept, and we'll break it down a little bit more as we go along, but really fascinating stuff and a great move. I mean, people have really wanted some of those Intamin type experiences over there on the other coast to finally get on the West Coast. I think it's just phenomenal, and I can't wait to see it.
Well, finally, Fast and Furious as a franchise is getting like a real attraction, because supercharged is not good, and the problem with the supercharged here in Hollywood is that it's part of the tram tour, so it's never really a believable experience that your tram is going at any real high speed. It's just not a good thing. So this is perfect. This is what a Fast and Furious ride should be. It should be fast and furious, right? This is what it should be. I like this idea of utilizing the cars on the coaster track and kind of going like full cosmic rewind, where they can kind of rotate and drift as they make those turns. I think that's really, really clever, a clever use of technology. I like the idea of how it looks like the underneath of the cars are lit up. Like you see that in a lot of these Fast and Furious movies, right? They're all lit up in different colors. Looks really cool. I think that'll look fantastic at night. I think it's a good move. I really, really do. I think it's a really good move, a smart move. This is going to attract a lot of the thrill junkies to this park. I mean, this park, Universal Hollywood, has been kind of overlooked for a long time. It doesn't have a lot of roller coasters. A lot of thrill junkies kind of skip over it and kind of, don't really take much notice of it. This, I think, is going to change the game for Universal Hollywood. Now they're going to have 3 coasters. They're going to have the Harry Potter coaster. They're going to have this Fast and Furious coaster, and they're going to have the Mummy one. I think it's a great move. Only criticism, I wish more of it was indoors. I think that's my only critique, though. Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen maybe some show scenes or something to really take this over the top. It doesn't look like Velocicoaster was a little bit less themed, let's say, in some aspects than Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure, and I thought maybe we could get something like that. Doesn't seem that we're getting that either, but it's kind of tough because you're building this on the side of a hill. That's the only kind of downside is not to set up a show scene. That's going to be really, really tricky. It doesn't look like they're looking to get themselves into that whole mess. So. But to be fair, OG, like you said, Universal Studios Hollywood's not really known for its coasters, and to put one like this in it, in a space that you otherwise couldn't really utilize for an attraction of scale, to have this kind of pseudo out and back kind of style where it goes up and down the hill, and like I said, it's kind of a terrain coaster in that way. I think that was a really, really phenomenal decision. Wizard, I think you have been, I mean, you knew about this for some time. Is this kind of the way you envisioned it?
Yeah, because months ago there was either the lower lot was an option or the upper lot was an option, and obviously I went the upper lot solution. And yeah, when thanks to good old Alicia Stella, who provided that rumor video like several months ago, everything she described, the C-shaped spike and the launch over the escalator. Although I did, because she said it would go down over the escalator, but I imagined it going over the escalator and then just kind of doing just a dive, like diving down. But
Right.
this is so great. But yeah, it looks fantastic to me. And uh, we're only seeing still one half of the coaster. You see, it goes off to the side. So while unlikely, maybe there's room for even like a small tunnel or some kind of show scene. It open kind of fast, but it does go off to this. We're not seeing the full thing. So look, or maybe there's some like outdoor prop or something you go by to enhance the theming. I don't know. I don't know what they can do there, but it is, like I said, it's Fast and Furious. So what can you theme it? What I don't know. Like, what besides the parties that you see in the supercharged thing? What theme? I think for the theme they should really go all out in the queue section, right? Trying to make up for the lack of the theme on the coaster section.
Yeah.
Really good queue. Yeah. And here again, this is the early part, so this will change somewhat a little bit. And I see a lot of people standing outside. I wish more of it was an indoor queue, to be honest, because it gets kind of hot. And standing outside is cool, but it's not as fun as like the Mummy queue, where it's pretty in themed when you go inside. It's much better standing in the tarps area. So hopefully they'll enclose it, even on that upper level. I don't know if those people are outside or if those are glass windows, but I'm hoping that if they want to theme to someone, they theme it to, I don't know, Hollywood Mansion, because I still get that vibe when looking at it, that Hollywood Hills Mansion. But if they go all out in the queue, because then then it would make up for any kind of lack of theming on the coaster. I personally think.
Well, yeah, they can go full like Hulk coaster at Island of Adventure. Isn't that kind of what they do over there? Like the queue is like really, really elaborately themed, and then the coaster itself is just kind of a coaster over water. They can kind of take that same kind of concept over here. But I'm sorry, Bash, what were you going to say, sir?
Oh no, I was just going to say. I mean, it's as far as theming goes, I think you're right, Wizard. There's like a very interesting LA style. It's like these stilt houses, right?
Yeah.
This seems to evoke a little
Even
bit of
look,
that.
like the cars. You see the 4 cars outside. Like that's like, I feel like that can evoke here in LA. If you don't know, we have those big Hollywood mansions. They have these very long driveways. A lot of them packed with like 15 cars. Rich people showing off their cars. I feel like that kind of evokes that type of vibe going on there.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely very LA. I'm sure there will be some kind of party atmosphere. It seems synonymous with the Fast and Furious brand. They always got to throw a party in there, as we know so well from the recent inclusions of Fast and Furious in the parks. So I'm sure that there's going to be some kind of party vibe, inside. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with this queue. Maybe it might evoke some of the garage theming that we see from Supercharged over there and the East Coast, but maybe something more elaborate as you get further and further deeper in the queue. I think that'd be nice. I was thinking about what you could do, because you have velociraptors on the sides of the cars. I'm sorry, the side of the coaster, I should say, in Velocicoaster, right? You could have Vin Diesel. He's trying to jump on various points. And no, I don't think that's a good idea. There might be a show scene somewhere, maybe the load system itself is a show scene right there. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm saying, like and Magic Mountain and X2 when it's working, and they have a fire effect, and like Nitro, maybe like they have like a Nitro fire effect you kind of pass through and go like like when you're like it's like a checkpoint or something, and time to boost, and it goes, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like,
Oh, there's okay. There you go. I like that.
that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be kind of
Wow.
cool. Yeah. Yeah. I think this is gonna have so many cool elements a part of it. I mean, it could supersede the theming. I mean, you could really get quite a bit from it, just from a well-built Intamin experience just in itself. And it looks like the
just
cars
glad
are going to be well themed, and that's really cool.
And they're each different colors, which is nice. I feel like it's each a different car. I'm just glad it's not themed as a warehouse. So, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you guys. I think you mentioned, Ethan, that the Simpsons. Is that the Simpsons area over to the right?
Yeah,
Or
right to the right. Those buildings that look pretty generic. That right there, the one to the left, is the Krusty Studios or whatever they call it. Then you see little tiny statues. That's where the Duff Beer Garden is, and they have those Simpsons statues. And one of them's a
Right.
pizzeria and a hot dog. But they look much different than they do in the concept art. And right where I guess it's so not in this piece of concept art, but I don't know if you have the other two. But in one of the other two, you see more to the right, and then where the Simpsons show building is, it's not there.
That's interesting because the Simpsons contract that Disney and Universal have, actually there is an end date to that contract, unlike the Marvel contract over at Islands of Adventure. And Ethan, I think you were saying it was 2028 that Simpsons deal expires.
Yeah,
So
because the ride happened in 2008, and then it was like 2000, and then it was like 20 years. So that 20 years it would be at 2028 then.
So maybe maybe Universal doesn't really have any long-term plans. Maybe they're going to let the land go and be something else in 2028 when those rights expire. I mean, is that possible? I mean, I don't even know if Disney would even be willing to re-up it. Maybe they want to take it back anyway. I don't know. I mean, that's a whole thing too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think Disney's going to be willing to re-up
Yeah.
that. I think they really want to compartmentalize all their IP and themes in house. I would assume that this is going to be part of that process.
And the long-standing rumor was for that spot or the Tram Plaza spot, which involved. So there's a massive planning. It's pre-pandemic to kind of terraform the upper lot, like terraform meaning like add more hillside to the upper lot. Right, move the Tram Plaza to the lower lot and like put Diagon Alley on the Tram Plaza to connect with Hogsmeade right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or in the Simpsons area to connect with Hogsmeade right there. I think they're still wanting to do something like that. So I feel like, they might just de-theme everything, and even if they leave it empty for a couple of years, find a plan to put some more Potter in that section. I think that's what they're really trying to think up over there. And again, with moving the Tram Studio Tour back to the lower lot.
Because it does make, I mean, it runs up alongside Jurassic World and Super Nintendo World, right? So you can access it from down there if you need to.
Exactly, yeah. And the permit says the coaster is going by the fire station that goes by the studio tour. So, I feel like if they really want to get that back downstairs, that way it frees up a whole bunch of upper lot space, It'd be cool to have, I must say, it really will be cool to have a Diagon Alley right next to Hogsmeade, like, walk to it, like right in the movies. It's pretty cool. So hope they get that going. And that even, someone did what do you call it, measurements or whatever. And that space, if they didn't go Diagon Alley, that space is big enough for a Hagrid's clone or a somewhat clone to pop into that whole area if they wanted to go with that route.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I did not hear about that. I heard about the Diagon Alley thing. I know they were going to add the hillside. That's really interesting. Because, like, if you look, I mean, it's pretty wild. If you look at OG, I know you're not fond of the attraction itself, but if you look at the back end of Forbidden Journey, it's like, it's on stilts.
It literally gets on stilts, which is
insane. That's a crazy thing. So to terraform, and I'm guessing to add stilts of its own, and to add like a Diagon Alley addition, very ambitious. I don't know if they're going to maintain that, but very, very ambitious.
I mean, the hill alone is going to cost them arm and a leg. I mean, just doing that alone, just getting the groundwork ready to even build anything on top of it, which actually kind of reminds me of like what they had to do for Walt Disney World with all that swampland.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
Yeah, you gotta move mountains, right? I mean, they had to
Literally.
dig out. Yeah, they had to dig out Seven Seas Lagoon. That was a man-made lagoon right there. They dug all that out, and then that was the kind of the base layer for Magic Kingdom, in order to have its utilidors and everything else. We hadn't seen anything like that for years, and never in California. That would be a massive project. However, if they don't decide to do that, they could go with Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure. I mean, that'd be nice.
Well, and another thing too to consider, and this is more long game kind of mindset, but
sure.
Look, the rumors are out there, and it's not just like fan sites. So, the Hollywood trades are reporting that Comcast is interested in buying Warner Brothers in a few years. If they acquire Warner Brothers, they can move a lot of the studio stuff to the Warner Brother lot, and they can free up the entire Hollywood theme park just to be theme park. And that would change the game pretty dramatically.
I think it would. I think they would most likely maintain probably the metro area, the kind of urbanized area of the lot, right? I can see them keeping the European Village and all that kind of stuff there. But a lot of your studio operations don't necessarily need to take place, and if you already have access via the lower lot to those areas, I mean that could change the game. That could add on significant amounts of theme park space for expansion.
Yeah,
and they can finally make it a whole circle and have you can enter the lower out via Hogsmeade or this escalators. They just make a big circle. Pretty cool.
It'd be cool. There's a lot of things they can do, and Universal is going to have to get creative, kind of like Disneyland Resort has to get creative in how they manage the limited amount of space that they have.
But Orange Grove, you can't build anything at Disneyland because there's no space.
There's no space. It's impossible. You can't build behind the rivers of America. Oh wait, yeah, there you did.
Whoops.
You can't build minis. That's where the entertainment building is. That's never gonna fit there.
Can't do it. It's impossible.
What are you gonna do? There's no solutions whatsoever. Oh no, we're landlocked.
So let's. Oh, go ahead, Andre. I'm sorry, sir.
One more question for the wizard here. Now we're on the subject. I know the Krusty Burger, and I think it's Three Broomsticks. I think they serve
too.
They're like the same kitchen. They service both ends of that.
That makes sense.
If they strip out the Simpsons theming back there, would they make use of the dual layer facade type concept, or would they axe that off and make it something else? Do you think?
They might. I don't know. I guess I feel like they'd keep it some sort of restaurant.
I feel like they would too.
Yeah, because it's just there. It's kind of it's not a small Krusty Burger is actually kind of big, but yeah, I feel like they keep it some kind of themed restaurant, even if they theme it to some generic and theme it again to whatever the new area is gonna be. Unless they do some like Potter stuff, then they might take it away and make it Potter, because that doesn't fit with Potter.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting thing. I like Hollywood's space-saving techniques. It's very, very interesting. Oh, gee, I do apologize. Go ahead.
No, it's absolutely fine. And it's actually very interesting to see both of these, these resorts, these properties sort of come up with these really creative solutions. It really does bring out the best in the creatives from both companies. I think we're going to see a lot of creative solutions when Disneyland Forward gets approved. Yes, when Disneyland Forward gets approved, I think we're going to see a lot of creative kind of maneuvering around with that. And I think that with Universal, they're really ambitious. They're really bullish right now, and they're going to want to expand Hollywood as much as they can. And I think they're going to come up with a lot of interesting, creative solutions, like what Wizard was talking about with terraforming the hill and all that. I think we're going to see a lot of cool stuff come from both of these properties, which is pretty awesome. Freaking awesome.
Something that's not creative, though, out in Hollywood studios, taking away a ride and replacing a ride when you have such a little ride count already, when a big parking lot next to it. I'll never get over that.
Well, all the blessing of size, blessing of size, and I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
It will never. It's so frustrating. I kind of know why, but then I kind of like come on, you couldn't keep the great movie, right? You couldn't modernize it, and then it's like, well, it'll always be the great movie, right? So it's like, okay, whatever.
Insane.
Well, and of all the things to bulldoze, that's the thing in Hollywood studios. You decide, that's we gotta get rid of.
Let's
The
do
thesis
icon of the
attraction. Yeah, I mean it's your thesis attraction. It's the thing that sets you up for the Hollywood journey that you're about to experience. But I guess they wanna move away from that.
Do you
And
think they'll have another name change? Off topic, but I'm curious. They got rid of the main ride, right? They might rethink Rock and Roll. Do you think Hollywood Studios will have another name change to something different?
they were going. I mean, they were really testing a whole slew of names, and there was one that they were sort of fond of that they were really close to announcing, and then they just pulled the plug. They were like, you know what's not worth it. I mean, they have explored that for a while, and they just can't seem to find a park that encompasses what they want that park to encompass.
Well, I think more than a name change, I think they need a logo change. The new logo is so bland. I mean, I've seen artists on Fiverr come up with better, more interesting logos than what I'm seeing over there in Hollywood studios. It's too bland.
Come on, OG 55 has a better logo.
You know it.
You know it. Look, it's interesting to infuse IP in the logo. I mean, that's, you want to talk about IP dominating things, that should tell you everything you need to know about the modern Walt Disney Company and modern Imagineering itself, which we will get into, but a little bit later. I think you have one more story for us to cover, which is
Super Nintendo World. And I did a video on this a few days ago, a solo video. I just kind of going over this competition element, here in Southern California. I was really focusing on the California market as it relates to, Super Nintendo World opening at Universal and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway opening up in Toontown. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to play my solo video, and along the way we'll stop it, and Wizard and Vash will sort of chime in as to what they agree and disagree with me on, and kind of just have a kind of a cool discussion in regards to that. So let's dive into Super Nintendo World.
This shit is not a fucking game.
There we go.
That's it.
All right. What is going on in fandom today? We are going to talk about Super Nintendo World coming to Universal Studios Hollywood. Now, Disney and Universal fans have been kind of pounding this drum, the narrative. Oh, Disney's in trouble. Disney's in trouble. Nintendo's coming to Hollywood, and it's coming to Florida too. But I'm going to focus on Hollywood today. There's been this narrative that this means trouble for the mouse. Oh my God, this is doom and gloom, y'all. Disney's done because Nintendo is coming to Hollywood. I'm here to say that is just flat out false, total bullshit. Okay, now I'm excited about Super Nintendo World.
Now,
but I think that the threat to Disney and their dominance and just the overall competition factor that this land will bring is greatly, greatly exaggerated. Much like most of what Universal does, in my humble opinion. Now, here's the thing: a lot of people, for some reason, I don't really know, in our theme park community or whatever fandom, it's sort of taboo to criticize or even question anything Universal does. And
okay, on that note, Wizard, do you think the hype surrounding this new Super Nintendo World, do you think it's overblown? Do you think it's just accurate? What do you think, Wizard? Because you are very, very excited about this project, and you know more about it than anybody.
Let me tell you, I don't know about the Twitter people or the Disney people, Disney crazy people. By the way, on your Disney, everyone, no one criticized Universal, but everyone criticized Disney. That is true for a majority, except the crazy Disney people. They like to criticize anything that's not Disney. I will continue to say that on this channel, so I hope you guys are watching because you guys have to be crazy. But Nintendo, wow, you know what? I think it's just right. Maybe the Disney Twitter people Actually, I don't see them, so I don't know what they're thinking. But I think they should. The people saying, "Oh, it's just Toontown." It does look like Toontown. It's very good, but I feel like that they're underappreciating it. Look, I'm telling you, I hear not Disney people or any theme park, random people that haven't been to Universal for years or any theme park. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to go see Nintendo. I'm going to buy an annual pass for that one. I'm talking random people that that don't maybe they never been to Universal or never been to Disney or maybe have. I mean, even on the radio, right? I know you guys know this. The big boy Natalia is like,
Big
oh my
boy.
gosh, Nintendo's opening Nintendo. I'll be there day one opening day. And they never talk about theme parks, other than they were just actually at Adventures Campus. But that's because they're broadcasting there. But they never, besides that, really talk about theme parks and like random like people like that just hear Nintendo. Really, Nintendo. I guess Nintendo fans are excited to go to Universal, whether they like Universal or not, to go to Nintendo. And I think that's what a lot of the theme park people are kind of missing. The people that are not
Right.
part of us, right? The billions of people out there that played Nintendo in 1980 whatever, and 1990 whatever, and play it now. That are like, what? This is so cool. There's a real life Nintendo thing, and they may not know one's being built in Florida. They may not care. They just want to get on Mario Kart. They don't care if it's fast or slow. They just want to live Mario Kart, relive the game, right? And just the general public, I guess that we can say, don't look into they. I mean, there's still people that comment on my videos that don't know it's being built. Like, whoa, there's Nintendo happening. When's it opening? Because they just found the video or something. So I feel like that's that group of people that's gonna come in and storm the parks and be like, whoa. And then they're probably gonna get an annual pass or at least want to come back again because like, whoa, look, there's Potter here and all these little things. And I think that is a great thing for Universal because they're gonna get a whole. I feel like they're not gonna steal Disney fans, or they're gonna gain new ones. All right, they're gonna gain new ones coming for Nintendo or coming for something. Like I'm sure they gained a lot of new fans when they gained Potter.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I don't want to get. I don't know care about Universal, but I like Harry Potter, and like, ooh, this is so good. I'm gonna come back again. So I feel like it's all about the new fans, and because that, especially the crazy Disney people, they're so stuck up and full of themselves. They think it's all about them. So they think, oh, Universal's trying to steal it. We're not going to go to get an annual pass because we're a crazy Disney person. No, there's 8 billion people in the world, and not all of them go to Disney or Universal. So
Right.
Disney people, Universal is getting a new market share. They're leaving Disney alone. They know Disney's bigger and better. They want the new people, I think. They want the new people, the people that like Nintendo. They don't care. I don't say they don't care, but they don't care as much as the people on Twitter think about what Disney's doing or making minis run away. Where they're going to soft open in January, no matter what Toontown or Mickey's does. Disney's the one that moved up Mickey and Minnie's. Nintendo is always gonna open in January. So whatever they say, what are those people are saying on Twitter? Actually, they were gonna open in late 2022 if there wasn't for the shipping delays. So those Twitter people, the Disney people, it's just what I see. It's really just what I see. They're like, whoo, Toontown, Nintendo's. I think someone commented on your solo video. Ooh,
Yeah.
Universal is the one moving up Nintendo because, they saw Mickey Minis. I'm like, not, buddy. Shut up. You know what you're talking about.
100%. 100%.
Boy. But yeah,
100%.
with a new fan.
To speak to some of those Disney fans here,
And the hard fact,
those are some hard facts right there. So
Yep.
there's some hard facts in there for sure.
And before I go to you, Dre, you mentioned Big Boy. This is for those in the LA area. I don't know if you guys listen to Power 106 or you used to back in the day. You'll get this Big Boy reference. Yeah, here we go. You'll get this Big Boy's Neighborhood reference right here. Right there. But Vash, go ahead, sir. What are your thoughts before we continue with the video? What are your thoughts so far? Your takes? What do you think about what Ethan said? Where are you kind of at with this?
Well, no, it's the fight for the normies, and I think Wizard is exactly correct. And it's one thing that even I underestimated until that Super Nintendo Super Mario Brothers trailer actually came out. When that trailer came out, I mean, I mean, it lit the internet on fire for like a good day. I mean, everybody was talking about it. Everyone was making videos on it, and it quickly became. I guess there are some sites out there who look at analytics and look at most anticipated movies and so forth. It quickly became #1 most anticipated film, just right when the trailer actually debuted. And so it goes to show you there is a market for this crowd. There is a crowd out there that's, and like Wizard said, might not be necessarily theme park people per se, but when you theme an IP around something that they are passionate about or nostalgic about, they'll come out, they'll see it. And I think very similar to what we saw in 2010 with the launch of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Universal, they might be seeing a similar effect again. We will see just how popular it is, but as far as like eating Disney's lunch, maybe that's a little bit overblown. So I will agree with you a little bit there, OG. But to Wizard's point, don't sleep on the new people that might come out and really show up for this thing. So here we go.
Fair point. I'm not that way. I will tell you exactly how I feel about their product. Just because they're #2 does not mean that they are like beyond critique. They are a massive, mega multinational corporation, just like Disney. Comcast Universal is a gigantic company. Nobody's punching down here. Okay, they can handle honest.
Comcast is huge. Let's stop with the whole.
Massive.
Some people speak about it like it's mom and pop, but it's like, you understand Comcast is massive,
cable
right?
and internet company.
They're huge.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're massive.
I agree.
Constructive criticism, in my humble opinion. So let's break down Super Nintendo World as it relates to the California market. Okay, so this is kind of an overview of the land. Now, mind you, this is actually from Japan because ours is not completed yet here in Hollywood. But we are not getting this attraction, the Yoshi People Mover. That is not coming to Hollywood. All we're getting is the land, and we're getting the Mario Kart attraction. Now,
just for some clarity, Wizard, OG is right from what I understand. Yoshi's not coming, which is fine.
Secret Life of Pets.
Correct, 100%. I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. It's kind of a smaller attraction anyway. Is there any chance, however, that we get maybe an expansion for the Donkey Kong area? Is that at all a possibility?
The voice soundstage and the other soundstage is almost the perfect size for it. Again, those people, the same people did that measurement for the Hagrid, they measured it, and if you look at it, it's right next to it. It's linear, so it could be, and it was rumored for a while. So I feel like they'd want. It's definitely there's an expansion of some sort happening. It has to be because it's Nintendo. Also, it's really small, but they just got Pokemon, so maybe a Pokemon thing. But I feel like it could happen. Especially again, if Warner Brothers and Comcast, if they get all that and do what OG says and move the studio over, even more space for Donkey Kong. So I think they'll definitely have an expansion of some sort. Semi soon, we will be getting an exclusive mini game though, in the bigger empty space, like a rather large mini game for Yoshi instead of the Yoshi ride, which could be cool. And, to use your power-up magic band. I know later in that video.
We gonna get to that.
We'll get to that. Let's
keep it moving along. Let's keep moving along for now.
In terms of the Mario Kart attraction, leading up to the opening of that attraction in Japan, all we heard, the narrative from the fan community and in the industry in general, really, was this Mario Kart attraction was going to revolutionize theme parks. It's an all new thing that we're going to be seeing with this Mario Kart attraction. And well, if you've been in the community for any amount of time in this fandom, that didn't pan out exactly like that. The Mario Kart attraction is a real mid attraction. It's kind of a meh attraction. It's a racing ride that goes really, really slow. So just a weird concept. Now, from what I understand, Universal was really pushing I'm sorry, Nintendo was really pushing Universal to make this as family friendly as possible. So the speed was a major concern for Nintendo. I understand that. But if you can't have a racing ride that's going to actually have some speed, then you don't make a racing ride. Nintendo has a plethora of great, amazing characters that you can pull from, and you can even pull from the same characters, Mario, and just make something different. If you can't go fast, don't make a racing ride.
Now, Wizard, what do you think?
I agree with some, but then also can see why they did it. So I agree. Yeah, it's obviously going to go slow, and it's not racing. But I feel like again, same thing with those normies, right? Those normie people that probably haven't even seen the Mario Kart videos or heard of it. I feel like when most people hear Mario, they're gonna instantly think of Mario Kart. So they're probably gonna want to expect a Mario Kart something in a Mario Kart land. So I
True.
feel like they had to do it, even if Nintendo wanted it slower. Because I feel like they'd be really disappointed if you got into land and hey, where's Mario Kart? I feel like that's again, I feel like that's everyone's dream, the Nintendo people's really dream. I can race, and again, it's hard. Even though it looks, obviously, it's slow, but it's hard to judge something via an AR or something through a video. So I'm still holding and from the people who I've known that written it when they had those team members, they really liked it. They went on 16, 20 times in
Okay.
so they really liked it. So I feel like it's gonna be better than obviously better than what we've seen in the video. But when we get that AR element, because people are like, oh, the AR looks bad, and it did over the video. But maybe it's the video, and maybe the tech could have been even improved by the time this one opens. So I feel like we might be pleasantly surprised when we ride the ride in person versus what we just saw with Japan.
Fair enough.
OG,
Fair enough.
Response?
Possibly. Absolutely. And here's the thing. I will say this. I will concede something here. I do think this is an attraction that this park needs.
Mm-hmm.
It's lacking in Universal. Okay. The critiques against Universal Hollywood, and not so much Orlando, but Hollywood, is that everything is kind of like a simulator, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, the Fast and Furious roller coaster we just talked about, great addition. The park needs more coasters, absolutely. And it also needs more kind of traditional family-friendly dark rides. And
Right.
This fits perfectly. So this, along with the Secret Life of Pets, the thing that is great with this whole thing, this whole move, is they really are diversifying their portfolio, so to speak, their roster of attractions, and that's something that Universal has sorely needed in Hollywood for a long time. So while this attraction might not be perfect, it might not be this, that, and the other, at the end of the day, this kind of ride is exactly what the doctor ordered when it comes to Hollywood. But
for the park itself, for sure. But Wizard, what do you feel about the potential criticism coming from even theme park guys? I mean, because I think of it and I go, wait a minute, we have a ride on the way for Disney in the form of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And one of the criticisms that I've had for that attraction is that the expectations are going to be different versus what you're going to get, right? It's not going to necessarily line up. For normies coming in who maybe don't know much about this attraction, will that kind of expectation gap or that difference in expectation versus reality, do you think that will turn a lot of people off and be like, oh, come on, that was not at all what I expected?
I hope not, but it could. But that's I'm hoping with commercials. Hopefully they'll see. I hope Universal shows the attraction in commercials. Shows that it's not some racing coaster or something.
Yeah.
Shows that and that's one of the criticisms I've had so far, because all is it's opening early 2023. That's it, right? You still don't have an official piece of concept art for the thing. They never released one. You realize that, right?
Oh, that's
Never
interesting.
released an official piece of concept art for the land. You see it there, but you've never released an official piece of concept art. And you just said early 2023. So I think I was talking to Sean. I said, man, I hope people, I hope their expectations, if they don't see it already, I hope their expectations for something like really a massive, gigantic land as big as Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge. I hope they don't come expecting some massive land and come here and disappointed, like, oh, it's so tiny. Like, that's why I'm hoping that Universal shows something.
Mm-hmm.
Just early 2023, like shows a little bit of the ride, shows land, so people will know, like they'll still want to, if they still come, they know what to expect, especially when they see, if they go to Orlando and like, oh, this one's so much bigger. They should show Hollywood's version. Give people something so they know what to expect, and don't do like a couple weeks before it opens, but like few months. So people booking, if someone's taking a flight over, because I've seen a lot of people online, or I'm going to fly across country to be their opening day again. So if they're taking the flight and spending the money, I feel like they definitely got to show at least one piece of concept art, and show a little bit of a ride, because that's crazy. Yeah, no piece of concept art. Well, Velocicoaster didn't give any concept art either. The Universal strategy over there. But yeah. So I feel like they should show something so that way that doesn't happen. You don't be like, what? Oh, I'm so sad. And you come up with a negative review or something.
Yeah, expectations play a huge part, not just in theme parks, but movies, content. I mean, it's just expectations can really make or break something. We've seen it. I mean, the sequel trilogy, the Star Wars sequel trilogy. A lot of the issues around that, the fan reception to that trilogy was an expectations game. The expectations were through the roof. Yeah. And everyone had their own headcanon as to what's going to happen with these characters. And when it falls short of expectations, it totally taints the whole thing. Where are you at with this, Vash?
No, I agree with you. I mean, when you don't necessarily match that level of expectation, and you don't set people's expectation accordingly, this is where you get the disparity. This is where you get the it's not quite as good as what was hyped and all that kind of stuff. I wonder when this kind of marketing blitz might actually come to fruition from Universal out ahead of the opening of this land, just to kind of help set those expectations. But Universal has historically been very, very stingy, and all we're seeing is hype, but very little substance in order to set those expectations accordingly. It's going to be really fascinating to see what the reviews from this will be from, not just from the theme park fans, because I think we'll always have our disparate quantifiable rating system, or we'll have our own kind of individual takes on everything, I'm sure. But from the normies, that's what I want to know. Does this match your level of expectation? Does this match the hype? Does this match the the anticipation that you've had for it, and so forth? I think that's going to be really, really interesting. But we'll go further ahead.
Let's continue. Okay, so the one attraction that we're getting here in Hollywood is that very mediocre Mario Kart attraction. Okay, in a land that looks very cool, but let's be 100% honest. It looks like a very hot, even a hotter version of Mickey's Toontown, which I don't even know how they accomplished that, but they did. It looks even hotter than Mickey's Toontown. So
is it going to be hot, Wizard? Going to be hot? Or going to be cold?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Okay. Now, when you said hot, did you mean like color-wise, or like actually it's hot?
No, actually hot, because it feels like everything is there's no natural shade. Like everything is sort of either
Open
cement
exposed.
or plastic. Yeah, and it just looks very hot. And it could, when you actually get in the land, it might not be that way. Just visually, though, it looks like a very hot land.
No, the companies, I think it won't be too bad, because when you go into that lower part, because it's so the other upper level so set back, and there's a lot of buildings, I think there'll be a lot of shade. Also, there actually is a lot of indoor areas, because those mini games, there's a lot of indoor walkways. Like there's a whole ice section. It's actually really cold. They have a blasting air conditioning, and that's a mini game. And there's a maze where it shrinks. They use the illusion, so like you're like shrinking. You're becoming that like mini Mario. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, mini Mario. There's like a mini game type thing there, and there's gift shops and stuff. But I think there's a lot of like indoor sections that like you can't see here, and then there's
Interesting.
up the stairs inside Mount Beeple will be the stairs to the second floor. So I'd say maybe at least half the land is actually indoors with either
Okay.
mini just pathways. So there's definitely places to escape to besides a restaurant, a gift shop, or the ride.
Now that indoor area with the ice sounds interesting. I don't know if you guys have been to the South Coast Plaza over in Costa Mesa, but they have a Canada Goose store. They sell a lot of like Arctic gear,
Sure.
and they actually have a little room that you can go in, and it's like 35 degrees in there, and there's like ice everywhere.
Wow.
And you walk
Well,
in, and that's how
so cool.
it's awesome. And that's
And
how you
that's
can
how you
test out
test
the
it?
jackets. That's how you test out the jackets. Like you put the jacket on, you go in this kind of like Arctic room to kind of feel if the jacket works for you or not. I would love to see something like that with that ice area here indoors, really crank it down, make it really icy. I don't know if that's logistically possible with a theme park. Maybe you don't want people to be uncomfortable.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think that might be kind of cool. I don't know.
That'd
Something
be
along
pretty
those lines.
cool.
I
Yeah.
think that would be pretty cool. Now, the thing that I think at from an operations standpoint, not so much heat, but maintenance. Now, there's going to be some amazing kinetic energy with this land, with so many moving pieces and so forth. Like it looks really, really dope, but it's almost like the anti Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in that way, where Galaxy's Edge is very static, whereas this is going to have a lot of moving parts and everything. Now, Wizard, does maintenance worry you at all for the long haul here? Maybe it looks great in the first 2 years, but as the paint fades and as things stop working, do you see that becoming an issue later down the road?
I do if the management changes, but if Comcast owns Universal forever, which I hope they do, wow, then I feel like it'll be pretty okay. Because I mean, look, Potter looks great, and we're coming up on its almost 10-year anniversary. Well, 10-year in 2026 anniversary. It looks pretty good. The Simpsons just got a beautiful paint job. Transformers getting a nice paint job and actually a brand new mural. So I feel like they do. I feel like they'll keep it up, especially since it will be brand new. But even I feel like 10 years down the line, I still feel like it'll be pretty as close to what it was day one. Only because I'm judging kind of how Potter looks. Because even Potter now, the animatronics have those owls and the elbows, they're all still working. They all flap. So all that stuff and the magical wand, the interact wands, all that still works. None of it. I never see anything broken down there. So I feel like they'll do a great job with the maintenance.
I think a good litmus test to see how they'll maintain it. I think the best kind of comparison would be Simpsons Land, because Simpsons Land uses a lot of colorful paint on the buildings and what have you. I can see it being a similar situation in terms of fading and what have you. And if they're maintaining the Simpsons area really, really well, and they're on top of those paint jobs and what have you, then I think they'll be fine with Nintendo. Harry Potter's a little different.
It's going away.
Yeah.
They're still painting it.
Yeah, no, 100%. What do you think, Vash? I mean, do you think that's a fair, like, if they're maintaining Simpsons and there's not many, there's not too many gaps in the maintenance in terms of things getting really, really bad. It's kind of a similar area with the coloring and everything
I think that's a pretty good allegory to it, a good comparison. This is one of the only advantages from a guest perspective to this licensing arrangement is that the license holder will usually put some strict language in place to actually mandate that these lands are maintained to the highest standard possible. And I think that will be a similar situation for Nintendo itself. I think it will be maintained to the degree that maybe not day one, but to the point that people, I think, expect. And I will give Universal, at least Hollywood, I have yet to see some of the maintenance going on there in Orlando. We'll be seeing that shortly. But in Hollywood specifically, I have been pretty impressed with maintenance as it relates to Comcast's ownership over Universal parks. Maintenance overall has actually been pretty good. And I'm sure that there'll be language in there for this land to actually maintain a high standard when it comes to paint and so forth. So I am excited about that. I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there because it is interesting. This is a very artificial land, so maintenance will absolutely become an issue for sure. We'll continue.
Let's go. This is the thing. This land will definitely bring people in based on that Nintendo IP. Absolutely. But is this going to like completely just destabilize the entire theme park market in Southern California? Is this going to change the game? Is this going to be another Wizarding World? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm very much convinced that will not happen here. Now, look, I might eat crow. Who knows? I might be completely wrong on this. I personally do not think that will happen with Super Nintendo World. Will it be a cool land? Absolutely. Is it something worth visiting? Absolutely. But I think that this narrative out there that this thing is going to change the game and Disney's shaking their boots and that's why they're rushing this Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway because they're so scared of Nintendo. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Now I did a video with my
now Wizard, I'll let you respond to that here before
That's funny. Yeah, definitely no one's shaking anyone's boots.
shaking in your boots.
Yeah, like no way. But yeah, this well, I won't like change the game, but it'll be a great addition. And yeah, but it won't be like a again, like I said before, Disney's not like scared of anyone. No one's scared of anyone, but because they're not going after those people. They're going after the more normal people that don't have Universal or Disney annual passes, and they're trying to get them to get one. Get them to come visit Nintendo as much as you want with our Platinum annual pass. We'll have a nice price increase in a couple of months. Come get those annual passes, people, and then Universal will be very satisfied because again, they have a pool of 25 million people they can choose from here. They get what 2019 about 9.45 of them, so they have like 18 million more to go. They just grabbing those people, grab them, and then they have some international Universal. That's nothing. Universal Hollywood, very international park. There's
huge international visitation.
You see so many different cultures and you hear so many different languages. Just every time I go, they want to get those people, even though they could just go to Japan, but they want to get those people before those people go to Florida. So they want to get those people first before they head on over to Orlando, which is closer in most cases, and bigger. So I feel like that's what Universal's focused on, and Disney is focused on their own little thing. Yeah, sure, they're looking at it. But they know because of those crazy Disney people that they'll pay any price increase. Disney will never be shaking anyone's boots, at least here in California, because they know there's a certain subsection of people that will pay whatever price they want to pay. They charge. They'll pay whatever price they want. They'll release whatever they want, and they'll get it. And that can just probably fund their entire company for a year. So Disney will never, ever be, even if Universal expands the whole park and all through the lower lot, they might be like, whoa. But I still don't think they'll be shaking in their boots because they'll have those certain subset of people that will be like, oh my gosh, I gotta get the popcorn bucket. Let's show up at 5 in the morning. Come on, guys. Oh my goodness. These are so... I'm uninspired to buy the Inspired key, but let me go wait in line for my Inspired key. Like, those people, those are the people that will just keep funding the park, and then they might leave some other people like, oh my gosh, okay, this is pricing me out, so let's just go to Universal. But there are so many people on Twitter and in real life that do that Disney will never ever be shaking in anyone's boots, at least here in California.
Right?
Maybe they will be, but not here.
Yeah, and to the people that don't vote with their wallet, we're big proponents here about voting with your wallet. For the people who don't vote with their wallet, that's all I gotta say.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Look, I think that the thing that I always think about, and this is just from kind of my personal experience and how it's been explained to me in the past, is it's not so much about the theme park viewer of today. In some cases you do things for the theme park goer of tomorrow, and it's those kids and those kids' memories and who they themselves have loyalty to, because if they have loyalty to a certain park, then they can convince their parents to go to those different places. I know from my personal example, I mean, we're gonna have a question here from from Matthew Murr, who talks about IP and so forth, and integrating non-IP attractions. And one of the things that I'll counter with when it comes to IP versus a non-IP is that creates a loyalty. We're seeing it with Harry Potter fans, and who like grew up going to Wizarding World, didn't have really any experience with theme parks before, but they now consider like Universal like their home park or their home spot, right? Because of that, because they were kind of they went to those attractions as a kid and so forth, and so they were kind of raised in them. I think this would be a new iteration of that with Super Nintendo World, where you might have kids kind of have this kind of mindset or loyalty that favors Universal over Disney. And we've actually spoken to some people, OG. I think what is it? Wicked Virtue, right? I think she said something like that, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, I went to Universal, but I didn't necessarily go to Disney. I was like, whoa, that's kind of a brand new concept. I know as a kid myself personally, I kind of favored Universal over Disney when I was like a kid, because they had Back to the Future, they had Jurassic Park, and it was like, oh man, that's so cool. What does Disney got? But they don't have a DeLorean, right? It's like, and so that's kind of how my kid brain worked, and so I always have kind of a soft spot for Universal to this day because of that. Now, not if they don't have Back to the Future, they're gonna have to take a back seat, I suppose, but. It's just those kind of things, right?
Let me ask you a question, and I don't really even know the answer to this, to be honest with you. The Nintendo IP. Now, when I was a kid, when I was a young kid in the '80s, Nintendo was the king of IP back then. I mean, everybody worshipped Nintendo. Nintendo was like, oh my God, the biggest thing ever. It's, regular NES and the Super Nintendo were the biggest thing. I mean, and to be honest with you, as a young child, I was more into Nintendo and Super Nintendo than I was Disney. I didn't really get into Disney until like the late 80s, early 90s. But my question though is this land, because I'm in my 40s, doesn't it kind of speak to my generation more than the kids today? I mean, are kids, because I don't know the answer, are kids as into Nintendo as we were in the 80s? I don't know.
It's an interesting question. I mean, is this more about the kids of the day, or is it more about the nostalgia of the kids of the past?
Right.
It's an interesting point, OG. It's an interesting point. Wizard, what do you have to say about that?
What do you think, Wizard?
It could be, because like I said, I mean, my dad loved Nintendo. I think Sega and Nintendo, he loved those guys. I played Nintendo when I was a child, the Nintendo DS, Super Mario Brothers specifically. So I know a lot of these landmarks are very cool. But I know they're still making new Mario games. Like my younger cousin, he's like 15 now. But when he was like 9, and even now, he used to play like almost 24 hours, 24/7 in the summer. Super Smash Bros, which is a whole bunch of Nintendo characters.
Huge.
And I know Super Smash was a massive game for a while there. And then recently, he still plays different Mario games. So I feel like the young generation still is. They may be like the newer Mario characters. I know they're obviously drawn all more modernly now. So maybe they're like. I feel like the younger generation likes the newer stuff, which I don't know if it's any different than the older stuff, besides drawn differently. I feel like the older generation will like the pixelated or not so pixelated, older Mario.
Yeah.
It's cool, because in the merch they have both. They have the pixelated shirt for the people who like that version, and they have the newer Mario version for the people who like that version. So I feel like it'll still appeal to everyone, younger and older, because it's still pretty popular. And then especially Pokemon.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, Pokemon's huge.
That's gonna be
Pokemon
massive.
Pops in like woo wee.
This kind of brings up an interesting point. With the Super Smash Brothers, I would have thought that they would have had that they would have gone more in that direction, because that just allows you to bring in all types of characters from wherever.
yeah.
I mean, it's just a stomping ground for all those guys.
It's the Nintendo multiverse, basically.
Yeah,
what it is.
exactly. It's Nintendo multiverse. Now, a Super Smash Brothers attraction that features, maybe their own, like you said, OG55, their own multiverse, where you can just input all kinds of characters in there. That's the way to go for the future of Super Nintendo World, outside of just this opening day attraction set here.
Yep. Well, let's continue.
Sure, no problem.
Good friend Bash Guy the other day talking about the opening date of Runaway Railway, which is January 27th, and we both acknowledged in that video that Nintendo World probably played at least a little bit of a factor in pushing this opening date sooner for Runaway Railway. Absolutely, it played a factor, but honestly, I don't think a big one. I really, really don't. And if you're going to compare the two, if you're going to pair Runaway Railway to Mario Kart, I haven't been on either one, but from what I've seen from both, Runaway Railway is a much, much, much stronger attraction than what we've seen so far with Mario Kart. Now, that could be a completely different situation once I actually get on both. But from where I stand right now, not being on either one and kind of seeing stuff online based on both, much more interested in Runaway Railway. Now keep in mind, I do want to give a little bit of a caveat there.
Sure.
I come with a bias. Let's acknowledge that. I have said many, many times, my heart is with Disney. I love Disney. I like Universal. So I do want to at least put that out there when I'm saying this stuff, because it is a factor in my opinion. But go ahead.
Wizard, what do you think?
Oh my god, I'm super excited for Runaway Railway, so I can't wait until that one opens either. But yeah, I know, I feel like it played a little bit of a factor. Disney 100 played a factor. Splash Mountain played a factor. Birds up to Splashy.
I know, pour one out.
Pour one out for Splash. Here we go.
Oh yes. Oh, so sad. In fact, out of all those, Splash Mountain maybe played the biggest factor. But yeah. So I think Nintendo definitely played a little bit.
Yeah,
but again, even though again, they were supposed to, and like I was telling Mr. Vash Guy over here, I was like, everyone, all the CEOs, they all know we didn't talk to each other and do all this, For those people that don't know, Disney films on Universal's lot. Universal films on Disney. They're not such a I hate you. They're all sharing stuff. So they know when stuff's going to open. They know that Nintendo wanted to, or Universal wanted Nintendo to stop filming in 2022. So they still said early 2023 for Mickey and Minnie. So they weren't like, oh my gosh, look at Nintendo, it's about to open. We should push it up a little bit. Like, I don't know. But they probably were like, wait a second, Disney 100. Well, we got the shipments. They probably made spring 2023 to want to open up the land, and maybe they're factoring shipping delays or something. Because then they're like, wait a second, hey, we're almost done with this thing. Why have it sitting there? Let's open it up. That way we can close Splash Mountain and break Ethan's heart, and then have a Disney 100 celebration. And then to the numerous people, or the person on Facebook who I just posted a video saying we'll Splash Mountain close in January, and there's someone vehemently just attacking me saying, why would Disney close a ride with a 120-minute wait? They're not closing in January. They're not closing it ever. I'm like, okay, I'm going to say 5 things, and I'm going to just stop talking because you're crazy. Another crazy Disney. Luckily, there's a normal Disney person defending me, but I was like, I'll just leave it to the normal Disney person because I can't. That's why I don't post things on the Disney Facebook groups. They're just insane.
Yeah. Well, but I think we got a drop for the crazy Disney people, don't we?
Yes.
I think we got a drop for that.
Don't you climb trees? No, motherfucker, we got bills and shit. Take your Peter Pan ass and make some peanut butter or some shit.
Any excuse to play Cat Williams. I love it.
Exactly.
There you go.
Seriously, and there's someone else too. That's why are the clothes in January? You're stupid. Okay, thanks. But when it happens, I can't wait. I memorize I have the comments saved. So if and when it happens in January, I'm gonna go right back to those comments. Just link the blog post. Like,
Well,
I say now.
from a theme park operating standpoint, I mean, if you have yourself an arbitrary cap as set by this reservation system, right? You can only have so many people actually reserve in advance and take in as many people as you can based on the amount of facilities, amenities, and so forth that you have open. It makes sense that you would want to, open a ride like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at a time when Splash Mountain is going down. That way that you don't hurt your cap there. So it's just like, from just an operator standpoint, that's what they're thinking.
Sense.
That's where they're going. That's where they're, this idea that they're not going to close down Splash Mountain. From what I understand, it is still happening. It shouldn't be happening, but it still is happening. And even if Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway wasn't going to, let's say it wasn't in production, right? And Splash Mountain wasn't going to be transformed over, they're still going to have Splash Mountain go down because it goes down around that same time every single year.
Exactly.
So, in order to balance that out, especially for the amount of time that this attraction is going to be down for 2 years, it makes sense that you would push this up in order to make up for that capacity loss. But OG, you were going to say something?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
But yeah.
So that's kind of my feeling on that. And more to the point, I think Splash Mountain played the most, the biggest role in when Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway was going to open, and just based on supply chain issues and so forth, if the rest of Toontown can't open with it, but Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, all the parts and everything are in place for that to open, makes sense to bump that up, and maybe Roger Rabbit opens as well. We'll see.
100%. It just as an attraction, it just looked like a better ride. Now, here's the other thing that's really, really funny to me. Anytime Disney tries to upsell or upsell you, or they pump out these like kind of gimmicky products to make a buck, right? A lot of the Magic Band stuff and just stuff like that, like the glow with the show ears and everything. The fans go nuts. The fans go absolutely nuts when Disney does this. It's Disney is very greedy, and they're trying to sell you on these cheap gimmicky products. And I just want to say, I'm really, 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 really glad that Universal is above all that. I really, really am. I'm really glad that Comcast Universal. Oh. Never mind. Super Nintendo World Power-Up Bands now available for purchase online. This is from January of 2021 in regards to the grand opening of the land in Japan. It says here the grand opening of Japan's Super Nintendo World is delayed again, but that can't stop you from bringing home a piece of the excitement now. And basically it's these bands, right? And they're $69, man. They're $70 for these bands. And these bands are interactive with the land. It's basically a magic band. And when you walk through the land, you interact with things. Okay, same kind of gimmicky stuff that Disney does, right? The same kind of gimmicky stuff that Disney does with like these games like in Galaxy's Edge and things like that. And the light up bands during the fireworks and all that, right? The same thing that fans make fun of Disney for doing and call Disney greedy for doing, Universal is doing the exact same thing.
So Wizard.
Uh-oh.
I have thoughts on this, but Wizard, I know you got thoughts on this, so I'll let you go.
So yeah, definitely, yeah. First of all, yeah, only those certain, when you say these things, and then you should really segment the crazy Disney people, because I know there's regular Disney people that are like, oh yeah, that makes sense,
That's true.
That's at the end. There's only those crazy ones that say the crap that like that. Because I mean, Magic Bands. I mean, I myself, I think it's kind of cool. So I'm planning to get one just because I don't know. I like it. But, I'll admit it. But and I mean, obviously, Universal's done it before. The not just the wands, but the interactive wands that you can charge $10 more for. So all the places do it. I mean, And why not? You know, if I had a theme park with a very popular land, I'd do it too. Why not sell a wand that you can, you know, if someone can buy, people like them. As long as something wants, that's I try. If people buy it, people buy it. But and like these are like you said, basically the magic bands. They'll interact with all the mini games, and then and you can get coins or whatever. The one cool thing about these things though is that if you have a Nintendo DS account, the coins you get from the mini games will go to your account, so you can use them in the actual like Mario game or whatever Nintendo game you're playing.
That's cool.
That's the one like plus thing. If you link your account, yeah, anything you make from the games will go right into your thing, and you can go and buy in game whatever you buy in those games. So that's cool. But yeah, I'll be getting the Mario one. I already picked it out when I saw it in Japan 2020. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Response there? Oh, me. Okay.
I'm sorry. Ethan, were you done?
Oh no, I should say yeah. Disney and Universal, they'll continue to do it, but yeah, I agree. You know, if you're gonna say Disney's gimmicky and greedy for doing, you should say Universal's gimmicky and greedy for doing, because they both do the same thing.
I will say,
like I said, don't buy it if you don't want it, but
yeah,
if it's cool, I'd buy it.
The war on the gimmick thing, you know, this kind of tug. Universal's implementation just seems to be that much better every single time. Like for example, the wands, right? That was a pretty good move. That was pretty shrewd. It was great move. Oh, that's not bad. You know, it works in the what is it? The universe, right? It's consistent with the story that they're trying to tell. It's consistent with you know, the IP itself. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I was wanting them to do like maybe like a force glove, right, where you could actually move objects and stuff like that. And I thought that would have been really cool to implement in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Unfortunately, didn't get that.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, right. Instead, we get Bounty Hunter game, which is you know, is basically 2.0 of the the app-based games that they had before. And it's like, I think all right, I suppose we can do something like that, but not necessarily the you know, we're already kind of stretching the IP out to kind of fit this product here, and it's not maybe the best implementation. Also, to the Magic Band 2.0, you know, you could wave at the character if you got the 50th statues right, and then make a sound. It's like okay, but with something like this power up band. I mean, you know, they I've seen videos of people like, you know, they hit the box there just like Mario would right in the game, and it actually reacts to you and it keeps your score and everything like that, and you're actually playing the game. And if I'm not mistaken, Wizard, there are some areas you can't access until you actually access other parts of the, you know, unless you enroll and play enough of the game. Is that correct?
Yeah. So see, with those bands, if you win enough of the mini games, and you get like the final battle with Bowser Jr., which is a special mini game, and it's you and 3 other people, and you all use your magic bands to defeat Bowser Jr., but you have to unlock it by beating some of these, getting enough coins in some of these mini games with your band. And it's like a special area of the land that you can't access until you can unlock it like a game.
Like I mean, just in terms of gimmicks, right?
Yeah,
Universal's implementation is just a little bit better every single time, and it just upsets me because Disney could do some of that stuff, but they choose not to. It's just gimmick and not actually fun to use in a lot of cases. But OG, am I off base here?
No, you're not off base there. No, you're not off base at all. No, there is a level of the level of gimmickry with the Universal stuff is better handled. It really is. It is better handled. Like a lot of the early like Galaxy's Edge stuff was really boring. Like you're walking around with your phone and you're scanning crates,
which I never did, by the way.
Yeah, I mean it's like, who wants to do that? Who wants to do that? That sounds like a horrible. That's like
you're working at an Amazon warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. We're in Amazon
Exactly.
warehouse. Yeah, exactly. You know?
That's really funny. But I think the best implementations of even that are when it like does something physical, like it physically manifests itself in the land. For example, you hack into the Millennium Falcon, it shoots out steam. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. If there were more implementations like that, even I would have taken. However, they're very few and far between.
Yeah.
Whereas, yes, this is an add-on purchase with these bands here and stuff like that. They're a little overpriced. Hopefully, the American iterations are a little bit cheaper. But that being said, I like I like where they're going with this. Go ahead.
Oh, so was it $69 or 69? Like, was it yen?
You know, in this article, it was.
It says
looked
at the very bottom there.
$69.
Oh, dollar.
Nintendo shop store for $69 each.
Yeah. Now before we move on to the trailer, which is fascinating for the Super Mario movie, any final thoughts on Nintendo World, Super Nintendo World? Any final thoughts before we move on to the?
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. I am, but I don't know. I'm not like, oh my god, I got to be first one there. You know, I'm my expectations are set pretty accordingly. I can't wait to visit it myself. I very much looking forward to it. Just to expand Universal Studios Hollywood. I mean, this is a park I really do believe in, and to get like tangible additions that don't replace other things. Backdraft and like Transformers was the better piece to be added. Now we have what is it? You have the Wizarding World area. You've now got Fast and Furious, Super Nintendo World. I mean, this is really shaping up to be quite the interesting little park here with quite a decent attractions slate. So I really do look forward to not just the openings of these attractions, but for the future of Universal Studios Hollywood. I think they're really on the road to to some of that market capture that they've been looking for in the Southern California market for a long time.
100%. All right, let's move on to the Super Mario movie. Now, this movie was produced by, it was like a joint venture between Illumination, which does the Minion movies, and Nintendo. It's a joint operation, and I gotta say, right out the gate, the movie looks incredible. Like, just visually, it looks beautiful. And one of the things I love about the way they handled the characters is that they actually look like the characters we've seen so many times with like reboots and remakes, and like these studios, especially Disney. I love you, Disney, but you do this all the freaking time. You want to like reimagine these characters into something different, and it's like, no, these characters are popular because that's what people like grew up on, right? That version of Mickey, or that version of this or that character. Like, there's no need to like reimagine it.
Wait a second, I thought Bowser has to be gay.
Yeah, right.
Well, you're a wizard. You're assuming things right off the bat. Come on, wizard. Jeez, I thought more of you. What? I'll say this. Look, OG, you're right. These characters have been honed for years and years and years in another marketplace. I mean, it is the video game industry versus the cinematic industry, but like the characters look the way they do for a reason, and that's what people expect. This kind of, what is it? These expectations aligned with reality. Like people expect these characters to look a certain way, and. Look, all I think about is the John Leguizamo take on the Super Nintendo World, Super Mario Brothers World, I should say, back in 1993. Like, ooh, that was rough. But even recently, like with Sonic, right? When they didn't get Sonic right, there was some feedback there, and to that studio's credit, they actually went back and actually did Sonic right. And I think that's what Nintendo is looking at. It's what was our previous foray into this realm, right? Especially when it comes to the American market, and what had recently happened before with Sonic. It's like, no. We're gonna give fans what they want. We're gonna be on model, let's say, with our characters in this world, and the film is so much better for it. I do agree with you, OG.
100%. 100%. Now, I do want to give a little credit to now Warner Brothers is going through some major stuff, okay, right now. And this is related to this, and I'll kind of make my case right now.
Sure.
Let me go ahead and remove this because I think this kind of pertains to what we're just talking about. Okay, this is the Looney Tunes show that they released on HBO Max a few years ago.
Right.
And this is like the perfect example of how to bring in legacy characters and make them new, like in new content, right? But you're like respecting the hell out of the characters themselves. These shorts are absolutely gorgeously designed, gorgeously animated, and wow, look, that looks like Bugs Bunny. Can you believe it? And that looks like Marvin the Martian. I mean, it's so beautifully handled. Now, Warner Brothers shits the bed constantly with their Aquaman cartoon and other stuff. But on this, I think they handled it perfectly. And the Animaniacs show for Hulu is just as great. It's just as great. The characters look like the characters. I don't understand why a lot of these studios feel the need to like reimagine stuff. Look, the Mickey Mouse. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the Mickey Mouse cartoons, the shorts, they're very popular. I understand that, but for me personally, they always looked a little weird. Like that doesn't look like Goofy. Like what?
Right.
I don't get it, and maybe I'm too old for it or something. I don't know, but I like when they stick to how the characters look and they freshen them up with some new shiny animation. But you don't not gotta reinvent these characters. These characters have been around longer than most of us have. You know.
Exactly. But we got to get a new generation there, OG. We got to get something that the kids are talking about and do all this. And oh, well, you know, these creatives come in and they don't necessarily have the biggest love for the franchise, let's say, and they want to reimagine it themselves. And no, stop. Guys, these characters are beloved for a reason. Just give people what they want. Right. And to Nintendo's credit, they stuck to their guns and they did it right here.
Now, I got
look at Mario. Gorgeous.
Look at Mario. Absolutely beautiful animation. I got to say, I'm not a huge fan of the Minions, but Illumination absolutely knocked this out of the park in terms of the animation quality is absolutely brilliant. I mean, this is on par with what we see at Pixar or Disney Animation. I do have to say, it is phenomenal. Now, I'm sure Nintendo had a big part in that. Nintendo is very quality driven. So they were pushing hard, I bet, with the, you know, the quality end of it. But I do want to say one thing, because this is the elephant in the room and we got to talk about it. Ethan, I'll start with you. Chris Pratt, we only heard a few things from Mario, but we got to hear Chris Pratt's version of Mario. What are your thoughts on the voice, how it fits with the character, yada, yada?
Well, he sounds like he did in Jurassic World. So, so unless Mario's riding some horses, you know, it definitely doesn't sound like Mario. But, you know, I don't know, it's kind of weird because he's Italian. He's supposed to be, you know, Mario, Italian.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, right? We've heard this for many years. Mario! Yeah. Like, you expect that whole thing.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if people will get offended by that. I don't know. But, I mean, that's in the game. That's what it is. But, I mean, I don't know. I guess I should hear more. Maybe does it sound like he's trying with this? I saw people say, Chris Brown. I'm not Chris Brown. Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
It has an accent. I didn't hear any accent, but I just have to go and check it again. But luckily, Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, and the rest of the voice cast seemed brilliant, from what I heard in that teaser trailer. And it just looks so gorgeous that I think I can forgive Chris Pratt's Mario. Even Luigi sounded kind of did he speak? I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I think he spoke. I don't know. I think he spoke a little Italian. I don't know. But yeah, the rest of the voice cast and the movie, especially the Peach's Castle, when that final zoom out shot looks gorgeous. Even the little guy right there, he sounds like a good guy. The rest of the voice cast sounds on point. Jack Black's doing a good job. So I think I can forgive Chris Pratt because I'll be looking at everyone else.
Yeah,
Well,
I think they did the classic animation thing, at least from like these other studios, right? It's like, oh, we need like big names and big stars, and attach them there, and have their names in the credits and the posters and so forth. And it's like, I don't think you necessarily had to do that. I think Mario itself was a strong enough brand that it would have brought people in. But OG, maybe I'm wrong.
now, I agree with you. I don't think that's a very old school mentality with the big voice cast and all that. You don't need any of that. Just find the right voice for the characters. Now, I will say this: the voice didn't bother me as much as I thought it would, and I've seen a few people on social media make this case, and I think it's a valid one. The "it's a me, Mario" and all that works good in a game.
Yeah.
Like, can you do like an hour and a half or 2 hours of that? It might kind of get a little grating,
Well, there was another movie that kind of attacked this whole issue in the form of Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, right?
Right.
What the high pitched stuff necessarily would have, brought. Could you have really handled that for the entire length of 90 minutes or 120 minutes and so forth? I doubt it, right? But it also, if you get away from that voice a little bit, it allows the actor himself to perform this in a way that will bring the character to life in its own way. So I think that's kind of also to might be contributing here, and that's kind of what I think of when I see this. It's like, okay, well, it's not quite the Mario voice that we're used to. Chris Pratt, that's definitely a choice. However, for the length of a film and a character being brought to the screen in this way, it might actually be a plus in some regards. I think it would allow some variation in this performance that wouldn't quite have been possible had we just stuck to the Mario kind of whole thing that we know and love. And that's why I'm still excited for this. I don't really the voice is like, it's not a huge deal for me. I kind of know where they're going, what the mentality is going into this. And because of that, I'm actually quite excited to see what they do here. Wizard, do you feel similarly, or?
Yeah, like I said, it looks too gorgeous for not to be excited. It'll be funny though if he like during a part of it, maybe like a line or two, kind of like makes fun of that voice by like doing like in a mocking way, like "Come on, Mario," and like almost like a metal joke. But oh my goodness, look at it! This thing is so gorgeous that I don't care what they say. They can say nothing, and I'll just be looking at this.
Well. This scene right here. I mean, if Universal really wants to, as our friend George says, go balls to the wall, you can almost build a Nintendo area very akin to a Pandora with those floating mountains and the waterfalls. I mean, you can do. This is the thing with Nintendo in terms of theme parks and what have you. It literally. Nintendo is like just endless potential. Endless.
Yes.
You can build an entire an entire theme park based on Nintendo IP.
Oh yeah. Zelda Land, like,
I'm
going there tomorrow. Like,
yes.
I'm booking vacations now if that's announced. I mean, that's it, right? You could do so much with this. Honestly, there is endless potential. Even what's depicted here in this trailer for theme park projects. I mean, it really is, and that this is why I'm really excited for stuff like this to be successful, because it's like, oh, between this, the movies that might come out from this, right? The merch that's going to be sold, theme park potential is really limitless, and maybe they're constrained a little bit in terms of Hollywood, but Epic Universe, we know that's going to have built-in expansion slots on day one.
Right.
Who knows where this might go, and it might be really exciting. But I think when people start to watch this and kind of get immersed into this world that Illumination, in conjunction with Nintendo, is crafting here, I think all this will work, including voices and whatever the detractors say and so forth.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is actually one of the few movies done by Illumination I actually want to see. I gotta be completely honest with you. Look, Illumination is a powerhouse studio. They make a lot of successful movies. Minions are a franchise not to reckon with. They are very big. But for the most part, they're just not my thing personally. This movie, though, is my thing. I want to see this. I love how they handled the characters. I think the animation looks gorgeous. I'm all in. I'll see it for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just curiosity alone wants me, is drawing me in here. I'm a huge Nintendo fan. I got to be honest. I did have a
Wow.
NES and a Super Nintendo back when I was a kid, but I really haven't explored outside of Super Smash Brothers, which that's just like everything. I'm not like a super huge Nintendo fan. But doing it in this way, bring the theme park the theme park version of this to life, and even the movie here. I mean, I'm my curiosity factor's through the roof right now. I gotta buy a ticket just to see how Nintendo and Illumination pull this off.
Absolutely. Now, from what I understand, Nintendo actually is opening up their own movie studio.
Yes, I did hear a little bit about that. Wizard, maybe you can provide some clarity on this.
I think I heard something like that. I don't know too much about it, but I do know they did or are doing it for like many movies like Zelda and Pokemon. I think didn't they produce the Detective Pokemon movie? What was that?
Oh,
Like
I
did
don't.
they attach to that?
See, is it more of like is it more of a studio that's going to be overseeing the production of some of these films from other different studios, or is it going to be a production house? Is it going to be part of that pipeline, or just overseeing the pipeline? I'm not sure. That's what I had questions about myself.
Wow.
Let's go ahead and give me 1 second, and I'm going to
look
see exactly. I'll tell you right now. Just give me one moment. Okay, here we go. Because this is interesting, and I think this actually definitely relates to this because, okay, so Nintendo has officially launched its new animation studio, Nintendo Pictures. So this is an animation studio. So look, this Mario movie done by Illumination is probably going to be the last Nintendo based film for Illumination, because Nintendo now has its own studio. I would imagine the Nintendo stuff will now be funneled into the studio. But it says here, it aims to create unique videos that will remain in memories forever. Nintendo has launched the official website for its new animation studio, Nintendo Pictures. The company announced in July that it planned to acquire Japanese CG company Dynamo Pictures with the intention of being to acquire 100% of its outstanding shares, making it wholly owned subsidiary. So they bought a Japanese CG company, Dynamo Pictures, and they're going to convert this studio into Nintendo Pictures and make their own content. That's interesting. Wow. That is absolutely interesting.
Very cool.
And Miyamoto has said that they want to Nintendo intends to create more movies based on its IP. So it's like, let's not just limit it to this to Mario. This could mean Donkey Kong. This could mean maybe even Zelda itself. And he also, I think some clarification came out in the form of maybe not having simultaneous productions, but producing this on a one-by-one basis in order to keep the quality high. This is really, really interesting here. I mean, you got the makings of a Japanese MCU, let's say.
No, you do. You do. And it's a smart move. It's always good when you're a company to diversify. And, there might be a day when people are just not into video games. And what's a company like Nintendo going to do? And Nintendo has a long history. Nintendo is like 100+ year company. And they used to sell like, I think like card games and stuff like way back in the day, and they reinvented itself into like a video game company. There might be a day where they have to reinvent themselves again, and it's good to have multiple media under one roof. And if they have to fall back on more movie studio stuff, maybe one day, well, now they're setting that up for the future. Very smart move by Nintendo. Well, a company like Nintendo isn't around for 100+ years by being dumb. So they know exactly what they are doing. So
they do.
Very smart company.
And they have been very they've been very choosy before in the past. Now that's not to say that everything that's rolled off with Nintendo's participation has been a home run. Like I said, that 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie was atrocious. However, I think they recognize the mistakes of the past. They understand this could be a burgeoning product line for them. I think they'll and especially with a lot of it taking place in house, maybe under this new subsidiary here. This could be some really fun stuff for fans of this franchise here when it comes to the film side of things. I think it could be really cool.
100%, 100%. Now we're gonna exit the world of Mario, and we're gonna go
Game over.
game over, and we're gonna enter the world of Matthew Murr.
Mr. Moore.
All right, so Matthew Murr is asking, what do you think Disney should really do to fix Imagineering and allow more non-IP attractions to spring up? I honestly don't think a change of CEO in this current economic climate will do much to achieve it, because if Chapek is a data guy, which he is, so will most CEOs, even Brian Roberts of Comcast. A complete cultural change within the entertainment industry is what I think is really needed. Dre, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Matthew's comment, question? Where are you kind of at with this?
Well, we just got done with two brands being brought to life, right? Fast and Furious and the world of Nintendo, and it's like, well, why are those chosen over any other IP or non-IP? It's that built-in audience, It's that capitalization of the built-in audience, and when you have so many different outlets or content production houses that can produce whatever they want, what makes a major studio stand apart? It's IP. It's their content library. That's it.
Right.
I mean, Netflix can hire anybody to create content on their platform, but to really stand out, these major studios are gonna dig deep in that IP well. That comes in the form of both what we see on the film side, the streaming side, and the theme park side. I mean, that's just what it is right now. I think the only way, what can Imagineering do? Look, honestly, if you're looking at non-IP driven content, which I don't think is going to be anywhere in the near future, it's got to be in the form of getting the prices down for projects, eliminating this red tape, and allow more to come to fruition. Honestly, it's because these things are so expensive. Who in their right mind would necessarily place their bets on something that's non-IP driven when you have so much IP to pull from that will book vacation packages in the form of attaching an IP to it off the bat? I mean, it doesn't make much sense. Whereas if you can, reduce the price of some of these projects and really get some more of this stuff made, maybe it does come to a point where, we don't quite have an IP that fits here, so maybe we'll make a new one. Boom, there you go. You have a new attraction built around something that doesn't have an IP attached to it. But that really, I mean, that's a pipe dream at this point. To quote our Italian friend that we just quoted before.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting too, because the IP thing has always been a thing. I mean, even when Walt Disney created Disneyland, Frontierland was a land built to kind of showcase his characters like Davy Crockett. You had Adventureland, which is very much inspired by his True Life Adventure series.
Yes,
Fantasyland is all the fairy tales and all that stuff. Right. It was very much a place where you can live his creations on film and on the small screen. It's always been that way. And so basically what we've seen over the last 60 plus years is an evolution of that original concept by Walt Disney. But it's at its core, it's still kind of the same. It really hasn't changed, and it evolves here and there, and it kind of maybe takes a little bit of a different form. But at the end of the day, it isn't vastly different from what Walt Disney kind of brought forth in 1955. It really isn't.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead, Wizard.
I was going to say, thinking from a normie perspective, since we're talking about normies so much, do they care? Right? The norm, not the craze, the norm. In fact, they may want even more IP. And I say this because my own friends
they
are
absolutely do.
They're like, man, Disney should build this land. We should build a land based on this, and not saying they should build an original channel like Haunt Mystic Manor. No, like we should build a land based on, I don't know, random movie Encanto or something. Yeah, they want more IP, and so Disney will definitely go and give it to them because the IP brings the money. And I mean, think about going back quickly to Universal Hollywood. Harry Potter, Right, Harry Potter. My stepmom went to Universal. I think she said 2004. Took her kids, right? Came, did the thing, came out, didn't care for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
A few things, 2019, where you went, a family from France came in, they were choosing between Universal and Disneyland, and I guess the dad didn't like Disney, so they went to Universal instead. So they brought me along, and we went. And then my stepmom, first time back since 2004, didn't even go inside Harry Potter, but she looked at Harry Potter and looked at that vantage point to the couch. She was like, and she came out saying, you know what? I'd buy it if I lived there. She lives in Vegas, but she said, if I lived here, I'd consider getting a pass to the park to come back because Harry Potter was her favorite ride and she loved walking around the land. 2004, that obviously wasn't there. She would never have gone back, but with Harry Potter, she would consider getting an annual pass. That's, I feel like, how most people are thinking because whether it's their favorite franchise or something, it just looks, that's an example of something that's executed really well that like Cars Land, she doesn't care for the Harry Potter movies, but like Cars Land, it's just done really well, so it brings people back. So I think the non-IP is just never gonna pop up because it brings new people in, not just theme park people. Because Matthew, love you, Matthew, but you're gonna go back to Disneyland no matter what they do. So, yeah, I mean, I would too. So, I mean, it's all about bringing those new people in because, and you need something like they're not going to know Mystic Manor most likely, but they'll know Nintendo or Pirates or Encanto. Or like, oh, there's an Encanto land. Great, let me go get a ticket. Oh, this is so cool. I want to come back again. How much are the annual passes? What? Wow, I'm blocked out the whole summer. Let's still get one anyway. Let's go. Or let's go next year.
Yeah, well, and you hit the nail on the head, Ethan, when you say that there's this gap, there's a divide between the normies and what you call the crazy Disney people. Like there is that gap because I think that the fans, the super fans, as Chapek calls them, they're kind of in this bubble where it's like it's a whole other universe. I mean, it's this like. You start to kind of believe that the kind of the echo chamber after a while, after being in that bubble. Normies don't want like non-IP stuff. They just don't, they don't want that. And it's not something that like Ethan, you brought up perfectly. They're not like clamoring for like a Mystic Manor or anything like that. They want the Frozen ride. They want the Marvel ride, the Star Wars ride, the Minion ride. They want Harry Potter and Fast and Furious. They want these brands, and then you go on like Twitter or something and you see like, the Diz Twitter folks, they're like, oh, nah, it's all about the non-IP. Well, I know that's cool for the super nerd. It's great, but the normies don't care. They just don't. But go ahead, Vash. I'm sorry.
They don't. And every single recorded instance after Walt's Day of infusing these parks with IP or non-IP attractions has been to kind of fill a gap in their IP line, right? It's like okay, we don't necessarily have an IP that really fits for Mystic Manor or Grizzly Gulch or Expedition Everest, and it's like, okay, let's do something original here, and sometimes it works, like in the form of Mystic Manor and Expedition Everest, and sometimes it really doesn't, like in the form of, I don't know, Epcot when it first came out, right? It's like, okay, we're gonna strip all IP away from here. This is really gonna be a forward-thinking place, and it's like, that didn't quite work. And what did Michael Eisner do? As soon as he gets in, we gotta get the characters in there. Let's take Mickey and Minnie and the Fab Five, and let's put some spacesuits on them and let's get them in there. And that's what they did, Captain EO and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
like they really infused it with IP, and so. The Imagineers, I mean, even Tony Baxter, it's like, hey, look, listen, the IP is a shortcut that we can use as creatives to really, bring that emotion to these attractions, which we really couldn't before. Look at Snow White and its Enchanted Wish. I mean, would a non-IP thing bring that same emotion to you? I really doubt it. I really doubt it. And they've had some failures on this front too. They really wanted to bring in the Alien IP for what is it? Alien Encounter, right? And Michael Eisner and George Lucas, they were like, maybe we shouldn't do that. And they went non-IP, and it really failed because you need those kind of setups that the Alien IP would have provided. But when you take that out, now you have to go without. And so they really, I mean, we've seen IP included in portions of this park that really, I don't know, they're kind of stretching it. Sometimes it works in the form of Tower of Terror, right? We don't have an IP that necessarily provides for that in the park. So let's go out and let's get the Twilight Zone to kind of make this all make sense. And then you have a Rock and Roller Coaster with Aerosmith. It's like, that's not great. But the best versions of non-IP work were really from Walt Disney's era. And Walt Disney, there's not a lot of those guys, walking around. I don't know if you noticed.
No.
He's kind of a once-in-a-century kind of person and really understands, really knows what people want, right? So he could do a Haunted Mansion. He could do a Pirates of the Caribbean, do it very, very well. But even in that era, you go back to the survey results, and what did people find as their favorite land? Fantasyland. Why? Because you could walk in to those worlds. You can sail above London. You can have a crazy time with Mr. Toad, and people really appreciated it, even all the way back then. What is it all the incentive to go forward with a non-IP attraction? Not much, but there is enough money attached to these projects where it's not even a consideration, honestly.
Well, and it's all about execution, because you can put an attraction that's it started off as a non-IP, Pirates of the Caribbean, up against an IP attraction like Indiana Jones. I think both are equally amazing in different ways. One is based on a movie, one was not based on a movie when it opened. So as long as you do these IPs, these IP attractions, and you do it well, and the execution is there, no problem. It's not the IP that's the problem. It's the execution that is potentially the problem.
Absolutely.
No,
and even the people who want non-IP attractions, you ask them what they want, they still say, "Oh, I want that Mary Poppins ride. Right. I want this IP representative." And it's like, wait a minute. What? Because honestly, it's really hard to come up with a concept that doesn't feature an IP. Let's be honest here.
It's hard.
These mega corporations, these bean counters and so forth attached to them. I mean, they're looking for a return on investment, and what better way to do that than with something that has a built-in audience right from jump? And that's just the economic realities of it. That's just what it is. And even people, like I said, even people who don't want IP, they want IP. Go ahead, Wizard.
Yep.
It's funny. Go back to your Disney versus Disney criticism, Universal non-criticism comment.
Sure.
Universal doesn't put any non-IP. Whatever seems to be okay with.
Yeah.
Okay with that one. They're like, where's the Disney non-IP? But Universal, they say, oh, we should put this IP in this attraction. There should be a Shrek ride, and there should be a this ride. But the same people be like, non-IP here, non-IP there for Disney parks. It's so funny.
Well, it's wild. And I gotta say, honestly, like Universal is really in the perfect position because they're big enough where they're making money, right? They're making a lot of it. But they're not Disney, so that they kind of fly under that radar. Like they're not under the same microscope. So they got the freedom to kind of do what they want, They don't have to speak out against the Florida bill. Disney does.
Exactly. Right.
It's like everything is like they're in that perfect Goldilocks zone.
Universal. I mean, Disney's like the Great White, or the whale shark. And Disney's the whale shark, and then Universal is like the fish that clean the shark. They kind of ride the tail.
Exactly. Right. They ride the wave, right? It's like NASCAR. You're sailing behind the guy in front, but and you're catching his draft, right? So, but it's interesting. The one time that Universal didn't go with an IP. Well, there's one coming up, which I'll get to, but it's the Lost Continent area as part of Islands of Adventure. And there was like a show that was part of that. And then I guess there was Sinbad. Both those things didn't really last for very long. Both these things are inoperable as far as I know. Dueling Dragons, right? But that's like a coaster, right? And then we see the modern version of that with this kind of space themed coaster. It's supposed to have an IP as attached to Epic Universe itself, but how long until that is overlaid with an IP? That's what I'll ask you.
Right. No, 100%. It's interesting. This whole IP discussion is fascinating, and it's like the forever conversation, the evergreen conversation amongst the super fans. But the normies are like, we don't give a shit. We want that Frozen ride. Come on, where's Anna and Elsa?
They do. And but I will say though, I mean, if there's one piece of device that I can or that I can provide or something that I would think that WDI has to change, and maybe that amounts to more attractions being built in the first place, and maybe that includes non-IP attractions. Man, they gotta get the spending under control. They gotta get the red tape under control. I'm now hearing from multiple people where it's just like, I don't even bother attempting to fill a role at WDI because I know that my creative pursuit won't be pursued, right? That my project, my concept won't be taken up because it's just the amount of red tape right now. It's just where concepts go to die. Whereas even Jason Sorrell and some other notable Imagineers who have a fondness for WDI and WED and so forth, they moved on to Universal Creator because they're actually building right now. It's something.
And that's the thing, and that's the problem, because if Chapek were to go in there, right, and go, we're going to have to cut the red tape, cut the spending, he would be demonized by the fan base. Oh, look at this guy. He's cutting the budgets. But you have to cut the budgets. You have to some degree. It's bloated. It costs way too much to build anything through Imagineering. They have to cut that. They have to.
So I heard an analogy that somebody used. It's like, dude, it's like money laundering. So much money going through there. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. It's nuts. Some of these things are so unbelievably expensive. It's like, guys, what are you doing? You know?
Right.
Now, I thought that Chapek was doing kind of a version of this with the Lake Nona move. It's like, do it under the auspices of this move, and in that way you can kind of cut down, and as people move over, we can kind of restructure as we go along here. And it was kind of an ingenious idea. It's just that they did it over the course of like a couple of months, and it's like, maybe you should have spread that out over a couple of quarters at least. I don't know. For me personally as a fan, I'm not too super concerned with the IP, non-IP conversation. For right now, it's that creative pit, that deluge that's at stake here.
Yep, 100%. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for coming on today.
It's been an honor serving with you all.
And Mr. Theme Park Wizard, is always a pleasure and an honor having you on the show. Everybody, check out Mr. Wizard on YouTube, and you're also on Rumble now, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right, on Rumble at Theme Park Wizard, or Theme Park Wizard on Rumble. You can rumble it up.
Yeah, there's that famous let's get ready to, but we can't say it, it's copywritten. So but yes, Wizard, that is fantastic. And even for us though, we have some exclusive content. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but we are also on Rumble, and we've just put out our first exclusive video. Definitely check that out. Some of the things in there, we're too spicy for YouTube. Just too spicy.
Spicy.
Need to milk it down for YouTube. But alas, if you want to go ahead and follow me, you can go and do so right down there at Vash Sky, right down there, just like it's spelled. Type that in, and you should pop up for all the, as Christine Waysons McCarthy would say, for all the
robust
discussion right there. OG, you got it.
There's the biggest bargain of all.
The biggest bargain of all. But the biggest bargain here on the net is going to be here at OG55. And that's where I'll be at Freshly Squeezed, your source for juicy news and info, squeezed fresh right from the Grove. And because we have our boy Wizard here, I got to play it again. I got to. He loves it. I love it. Let's do it.
Let's go. Wizard. Yes.
Gotta end the show on a high note.
Yes. Fantastic, fantastic. And you know what? For good measure, we haven't done this one in a while. I think Vash will appreciate this one.
And now, the man with many titles, bringing you juicy news and info, squeezed fresh right from the Grove, Mr. Vash Sky.
Oh, thank you. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
You can't end it without Cat Williams.
Oh yeah, we got to do one more Cat Williams, and then we'll go. One more Cat Williams, and then we'll go.
You gotta be grateful. You need haters. What the fuck is you complaining about? What the fuck do you think a hater's job is? To fucking hate. So let them motherfuckers do their goddamn job.
There we go.
There you
I
go.
love Cat Williams. My all-time favorite comedian. He is absolutely brilliant. Love Cat. Cat, if you're watching, you want to come on the show? Let me know.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. No. We'll do it over lunch. It'd be perfect.
Let's do it. Thank you all so much for watching. We had a great conversation today in regards to Super Nintendo World, the Super Mario movie, Imagineering and IP, and just all kinds of stuff. Really great time. Again, follow this man on Rumble and on YouTube. He does phenomenal content, Universal, Disney, even like Six Flags, even Six Flags. So he does it all. He does it all. But thank you all so much for watching OG55 and have a wonderful day.
Have a wondrous journey.